Well, it's the first day of the 2024 turkey season for me. Just barely starting to get a little light in the horizon. A little chilly this morning, in the 30s, so I got some extra clothes on. Anyway, don't know if there's any birds back in here, but I picked a spot. I'm gonna go back there and listen. And if nothing gobbles, then I'm gonna get on the move. Standard practice, but I got about a 400 or 500 yard walk. I'm gonna get back in there. It should be just before gobbling time by the time I get there. So come on, let's get this thing started. There's a little swamp right over here. Past this woodline kind of wraps around these pine trees here. Turkeys are most likely roosting right along the edge of it. Go ahead and hoot. I don't know what this wind's gonna do. So far, no good. I outhooted a few times as it was getting light. Haven't heard anything yet. Just been standing here listening. That almost sounded like a gobble. It's way off that way. Just the last little echoes. Anyway, I'm gonna outhoot again. It's been a little while since I outhooted. See if something gobbles. That's one I just heard a gobble at the end of that cut. One thing I will do is get a compass reading on it. Got me a little camping compass here. Find it at Walmart. I was going in the direction that I heard what I think was the gobble. And just get a compass reading. Around the 270 mark. So now I'll drop a pin on Onyx at this current location and mark 270 degrees from this location. Maybe gobble at 270 degrees. Now I'll turn on the compass reading. I'll move it until it reads 270 degrees. Rode around a little bit this morning, checked some other areas. Still nothing, haven't seen any turkey tracks. I know they're in here. Just gotta find them where they're hanging out. A lot of pines right here. Just working the transition line. I emphasize that a lot. If you've heard me in podcasts and other interviews, I've discussed working those transition lines. That's where a lot of times you'll find the turkeys hanging out right there where the cover meets food, meets other cover, other habitat types. Especially in areas like this where there's just a monotony of pines, like you see off to my left here. And then you have a swamp like right here. This area I'm walking on this trail right here, perfect area. Strike a bird maybe out in the swamp or maybe in the pines, but they'll be in this general area typically. But I got about a 3-mile loop is what I got planned. I'm just gonna walk along, make some calls occasionally, maybe set up a blind call and just listen and scout my way through here, hunt my way through here, and hopefully I turn up something. So I've been walking quite a bit. Haven't found a whole lot of signs. Found what looks like some old turkey scratching. Found some hen tracks. I think I'm gonna set up and do some blind calling here. It's a nice little open area here. Pines are back up that way. Swamps off that way. Just a nice wide little area here. Turkeys may stroll through here feeding. Some hens, and then maybe they bring a gobbler with them. Maybe give it an hour and a half maybe, and then head off to another area. Okay, I'm good to go now. So my strategy here is I'm gonna make some aggressive calling, do some aggressive calling on the pod call, and then I'm gonna just sit here quiet. If nothing gobbles, I'll just sit here and listen. If something heard my calling but didn't gobble, by not calling and just giving it time, they'll hopefully come this way. They don't see a hen, and then they'll either drum or gobble to give themselves away. So that's kind of the strategy here. And then hopefully I don't fall asleep. I'm getting a little tired. I didn't get much sleep yesterday. This should be enough to sit here quietly and see what happens. Yesterday I hunted, didn't have much luck. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. I found one hen track. So I rode around, scouted some other areas and tried to roost birds, didn't hear anything. Spoke to some local deer hunters actually. And they gave me a tip on where they've seen some turkeys during deer season. So I'm heading into one of those areas now, and that's where I'm going to start my day listening. That's why it's important to sound like a real owl. A lot of people come out here. A lot of people come out here and they want to use a natural voice or some inferior owl call that doesn't sound really good because they just want to be loud and get a bird to gobble. But if you sound like a real owl, you'll get the real owls hooting. And you can hear those owls, they're like 400 or 500 yards away. There may be a bird up there that didn't gobble to me, but because they're so close to it, they'll trigger it to gobble. I've had that happen on numerous occasions, so realism matters. I finally got one gobble. Didn't have to go very far. About maybe a half mile from my other spot. So I dropped the pin where I think he is, or about where he is, about 500 or 600 yards. And I'm going to cut the distance, about a third of that off. I'll run the pot call again, see if I can get him to gobble. Kind of get a better beat on him. I don't want to get too aggressive right out the gate, especially after yesterday not hearing any birds. But anyway, I'm going to get here, right here before this curve, and I'll run a call. Wow, that sound just echoes all through those woods. Did I actually hear a gobble? Now I'm starting to second guess. I'm pretty sure it was a gobble. I'll just ease forward a little bit farther and see what I come up with. Starting to have doubts now. It's probably a woodpecker I heard. But I don't know, I was pretty confident when I heard it, so gotta at least give it a chance. Get out here and maybe set up a blind call if nothing answers. Okay, I'm down here close to where I dropped the pin where I was guessing he's at. I'm betting he's a little farther away. But I don't dare come any closer without calling again. I'm not finding any tracks at all, not a single track in this dirt, mud, sand, and that's really got me second guessing if that was actually a gobble. And the fact that he ever gobbled again, it was so faint, it almost sounded like a woodpecker. I don't know, I'm just second guessing myself. When I first heard it, I was pretty confident it was a gobble, but it was just barely audible, and I can't take the chance of investing a lot of time in a spot, where I'm not 100% sure it's a gobble, and I can't get him to gobble again. And I got a limited amount of time to hunt. So I'm just gonna head back to the truck and go to another area and just keep trying to find birds, try to find one that's more vocal, and find one that I'm 100% sure is a gobble. Now you guys are going to notice a little bit of change in the scenery. I abandoned the other area, just not finding any sign. Day and a half of hunting there, and just not going well. Found one turkey track. Thought I heard a gobble first thing this morning. I'm not even sure it was actually a gobble. Decided to cut my losses and head to a new area. I'll hunt until sunset, fly uptown. And then, depending on what happens, make a game plan for tomorrow morning. What am I doing? Well, I'm trying to get to an island out here. And I have hip waders in my truck. I just forgot to put them on. I knew I was likely going to encounter water. Just got in a hurry. And then instead of going back to the truck, I said, bump it, I'll just get wet. But I'm almost to the island. It's not a huge island, but it's big enough. These turkeys will go through this water. I've gotten knee deep in a couple spots, but they could just flutter across to the next spot. And they like walking through here and eating crawdads and little plant life and stuff. I just don't want to encounter a copper or a cottonmouth, not a copperhead. There's the island right up here, all that green stuff, high ground. I think I'm gonna just get to the edge and set up. I just bumped some turkeys. They were on this island. Of course, they'd be right here on the side that I'm about to step up on. They were about 40 yards away. At least 3 or 4 of them. I want to sit tight and let them calm down. Probably hide behind this big cypress tree right here. See, my game plan was to get up here somewhere, like under that little palm, that big tree there. I spotted it earlier, or this big tree right here, and just kind of sit down and listen. And let things settle down. I was going really slow. Been nice. If I hadn't been over water, I probably would have been setting my tripod down and getting my binoculars up and scanning the island. In hindsight, that's what I should have done. I should have just stood my tripod in the water. But I didn't want to get water all in the tubes. It's my 3rd day to hunt. Potentially my last day. I may get a little bit of time in the morning. I don't know yet, but I don't feel like I've hunted really past 2 days. I mean, I've hunted, but I don't know. I spent so much time in my truck. I just felt like I wasn't hunting because I was just driving long distances to different places, trying different pieces of public. I'd walk in there and call, look for turkey sign, turkey tracks. Just wasn't finding anything, wasn't hearing anything. I saw one hen cross the road as I was riding to a new area. I just felt like I wasted so much time in the truck, but at the same time, I wanted to cover ground, cover areas, and try to find a spot that was holding birds. Today, I'm just going to take my chances. This is a new area. I got a buddy that said that there's probably some birds in here, so I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to just walk and call and look for sign and just cover ground. Hopefully my buddy was right, because I certainly could use an area with some turkeys, because I ain't find them in the other places. Or they're just not talking. But anyway, it's starting to get light, and start owl hooting here soon. See what happens. He just gobbled. So I think the best thing to do, he's straight up that way. There's a trail down this way, a couple hundred yards. I can run it up that way. So I'm gonna get on the move. One just gobbled way up that way. That could be him. He could be on the ground now. I believe that's my boy. Just gobbled again. He's gobbled like 3 or 4 times. Time to head that way. Bird's probably got hens. Probably strutting to him right now. Just not gonna get him to gobble hardly, if at all. Let's sit here and listen. I know there's a bird in the area, so there's no sense in running off to parts unknown. He may give himself away in a little while. Just sitting here, listening. Turkeys. And they're clucking. I think she heard me calling earlier, and that's why she came in and started clucking. Because I'd called down there about 50 yards or so, walked up here, sat down on a log and just listening. And 5 minutes later, all of a sudden, she started clucking. I came here and sat down and called to her. She never came in. I don't think she saw me. She's too far away. It's too thick in here for her to see me. I'm just curious if she was with that gobbler this morning. She may be with him right now. Who knows? But anyway, I'm gonna sit here quietly for a little while and maybe I'll hoot and see if the gobbler is in the area. They may have been passing through. Well, my last morning for this trip, rain just ended. The wind's picked up a little bit and drops of rain are dripping off the trees, so it's going to be a little noisy, but I think it's still possible to hear a bird gobble if he's close enough. Only got a few hours to hunt this morning, and I got a skedaddle, but I'm going to make a loop through here and run some locator calls, maybe some turkey calls as it gets daylight, and see if I can scrounge up one gobbler for my last morning here. It'd be nice just to sit down to one and work him would be great, but so far not much going on. Just walking slowly, stopping and owl hooting. Maybe run a mouth call. See if I can get these birds to gobble or something. They just might not be gobbling this morning. I may have passed birds already. But we'll see. I'm just gonna make some big loops through here, cover a couple miles. And maybe I can turn up something, I don't know. Just came up on some turkeys, like 2 hens just around the curve. There might be a gobbler. I'll just hang over here to the edge. Soon after I saw that hen, I was just standing there on the corner there, and the gunshot rang out a couple 100 yards back behind me in the woods. They must have come in from another access point. Oh, they could be parked next to my truck, who knows. But congrats to them, whoever it was. I hung around in that one spot there for a while, just stayed there quietly, and I made some calls. Didn't hear anything. Might have just been 2 hens together. I didn't get a good look at her wing patch to see if she was a juvenile or not. There have been a couple of juvenile hens just hanging out. So anyway, we'll keep cruising forward back towards the truck, and maybe I can get an opportunity. You guys may have noticed that I was carrying a different gun in this video than I have in recent years. I retired my 12 gauge Mossberg 535 and swapped it out for this Mossberg 510 Mini Bantam. This used to be my daughter's gun, well, it still is technically, but she's using a 410 now. I did some modifications to this that I really like. Number one is I put an adult stock on it just to kind of move the gun out to make it more comfortable. Plus I had a youth stock at one time on my 12 gauge, and because it was so close, I punched myself in the lip with my thumb on a couple of shots, and that doesn't feel very well. So I have an adult stock on it. Even with that, the gun's overall length is around 38 inches. The barrel's 18.5. I have a factory ported choke at a constriction of .584. I'm getting great patterns with this gun at 25 yards, about 90+% of the patterns inside a 13-inch circle, and it's nice and evenly distributed. That's with Apex number 9 TSS. At 40 yards, about 90% or so of the pattern. It's obviously more than 90% because there was only a few stray pellets outside of a 20-inch circle. So it's a nice open pattern like I like it. Out to 40 yards, that's my self-regulated limit for shooting turkeys. I try to shoot turkeys inside of 40 yards. So it patterns great, shoots great. Much less noticeable recoil than my 12 gauge, I must say. The gun weighs just over 5 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter. Another thing I did was I ordered a trigger spring assembly kit from M Carbo, and I'll put a link into the video for that. But it reduces the trigger pull
down from the factory pool of just under 9 pounds, or just under 10 pounds, sorry, and it puts it all the way down to under 5 pounds, about 4 3/4 pounds. So that's quite a drop in the amount of effort it takes to squeeze that trigger. And I think that helped me miss sometimes, because that extra effort would allow me to pull off target slightly. And in a lot of the videos I went back and watched, I was missing to the right of turkeys. And so I think that was contributing. So lower recoil, a lot less poundage required to pull that trigger and make a shot. And I think that's going to help. Another thing I did is I moved my red dot, which is a Burris Fast Fire 3, out from above the receiver here, out on the rib. I got some friends that's been doing that, and they really like it out there. They said it helps with target acquisition. It also moves the red dot away from your face so that it's not crowding your line of sight and your peripheral vision and everything. I have to agree, I like it. I've put about 15 rounds to this gun already, just patterning it and trying different loads and things. And I really like it. It's way out there. All I've got to worry about is the dot. I can see clearly around it. It actually seems like, seems more natural for when I'm aiming. My head always kind of lines up right in place with it on the stock here. And it also puts the adjustment right here at my pump hand. So I can reach up there, set up on a turkey, maybe the sun's behind clouds, maybe the sun comes out and I want to make a quick adjustment. All I got to do is reach up there with my thumb and press the button to make brightness adjustments. Most of the time I'm running it on auto brightness, so it adjusts automatically. But there are times where I want to have a manual setting applied to it. I mounted it out on the rib using a Meadow Creek Mounts universal rib mount. And this thing is solid. I was kind of leery at first. I tried it out. It hasn't budged a bit. And so the red dot itself and the mount seem to be rock solid. So that's the basics of this gun setup I'll be running this year. And I'm hoping it helps me miss less. So there you have it, my Mossberg 510 Mini Bantam in 20 gauge. It's gonna be my little turkey go-getter this spring.